Hi Jules and Mike, here we are, week 3, new video. What you'll need is your roller and your band and a chair, and try and make it a sturdy chair. I've got a little sort of sticky thing here that, just because we're going to have our feet over the edge of the chair, it might make life a little bit more comfortable for your feet. Just see how you get on. You also might not want your feet on your chair. So that's what we're going to need. You might want to pause the video, get all those bits and pieces, and come back and we'll get going. So we're going to start off with some footwork. So I've been trying to think about trying to replicate almost a little bit of what we do on the reformers. So chair is in front of you. You're going to step forwards with one foot, so it doesn't matter which one it is. And I'm just resting my foot onto the chair, sort of the widest part of my foot. Now, if you're unbalanced at all, you might want to take your roller and just have your hand either, doesn't really matter which side, and you can always use that if you're finding that this is too much of a balance challenge for you. Now obviously your back hip wants to be nicely open, so your foot is well behind your hip. And I'm going to take a little hinge forwards. Again, if balance is difficult for you, you could always put your hands onto your knee, but let's try and get as much balance as we can. So from here, I want you just to push that back heel down. And then from there, you're going to bend your knee, lift the heel, straighten and push down. We bend the knee, lift the heel, straighten the leg and push down. So it's a bend, a lift, a straighten and push down. We'll do 3 more, lift, straighten and push down. 2 more, lift the heel, straighten the leg, push the straight leg. Last one, lift, up and push down. Now from there you're simply going to lift your heel and lower the heel. Lift and lower. We'll do 6 and 5. Really think about your balance, the position of your shoulders, the position of your head. 3 and 2 and 1. Push all the way down. Push out to exchange to the other side. So we're going to place the other foot on. Try and make sure that your other foot was as even as the first one. So you might be better to sort of do a transition where your feet end up absolutely the same. And then from there, position the upper body first. So be careful of your head dropping down. Remember, you can always have something to balance on if you would prefer. Make sure that your hips are square. Taking your body forward just a little bit, and whenever you're ready, you're going to bend, lift, straighten and lower. Bend and lift and straighten and lower. So really think about the quality of the position on every movement change point. Bend, lift the heel, straighten the leg and push down. Bend, lift the heel, straighten the leg and push down. Bend and lift and straighten and push down. We'll do 4 and lift and straighten and push down. Keep breathing all the time. Straighten and push down. Bend, lift, straighten and push down. 2 more. Bend, lift, straighten and push down. Last one. Keep good alignment. Ankle, knee, hip socket all the time and all the way down. Now from there, a simple lift and a lower. A lift and a lower. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. We'll do 4, down, 3 and down, 2 and down, and 1 and down. Push all the way out and allow your foot to come back down. Perfect. You just shake your legs out. And we're going to come all the way down onto our hands and knees. Now, just because we're going to do this in advance of, or rather we're going to do this in advance of our next exercise, I want you to take your band and you're going to have your little circle. There's a bit of section of writing on it, and I want you to have that little circle just in front of you and place the band out nice and long and lengthened, so it wants to be nice and flat. I'm just going to leave it there for now, okay? And then we're going to do another exercise. So I want you to take the band and you're going to kneel on it. So one knee is going to go onto that circular dot and the other knee is just going to be comfortable for now. You're going to come down into a box position, and if you can, you're going to reach this other leg out, okay? Now from here, take your roller, and you're going to use the roller to do some thread the needle. So your hand comes onto the roller like so. You're going to push your tail away from you, so you've got a lovely long spine, and you're going to reach through like so, and then you're going to bring that roller in, and you're going to open out to the side. Now be careful that that hip doesn't push backwards. And again, you're going to reach through the lovely long spine, push your tail away from you, and pull the roller in and open out to the side. We'll do two more. So always try and push your breastbone forwards. Don't let your back round at that point. It likes to round, Mike. So be really careful that you're not going into a flexion of your upper back. One more, reaching it through and all the way in and all the way out. Now slowly bringing it back. I'm just going to put the roller a little away from me for now because we need enough space that we can come over to this side. Now Jules, I am aware that weight bearing onto your wrists might not be great for you. If that's the case, pull that chair underneath and just come onto your elbow. So you could just pull your chair a little bit closer and come onto the elbow if it's too much for you to be onto your hand. So we're leaving this knee exactly where it was on that dot, and I'm going to take my outstretched foot now into the band like so. Okay, I've wrapped the band around my little toe and I've kept the band really flat. Now from here, push your pubic bone a little forwards. I can't remember if we talked about little seat bone lights. So imagine that your seat bones were headlights and they're just pushing straight down right now. I want you to flip them up into full beam. Not that you're tucking your tail, but really think about length and lifting them up. And that will assist with the pubic bone just coming a little forwards. Now from there, I'm going to come from the back, grasp the band, and put my elbow into my waist. Now we're going to laterally flex across to the side and bring the hand down to the floor. So Jules, that's the opportunity that you could always just lean onto your chair on your elbow if you wish. Think about the position of your head, no sticky out bottoms, and we're simply going to lift and lower, and lift and lower. Now be really careful of the position of this underside thigh bone. So you don't want your bottom to push out, and you also don't want this to happen, that you sort of lean like this. So really keep thinking about the vertical nature of that underside thigh bone. Are you breathing? Lift, lift, lift. And I don't care about the height, doesn't have to be really high. And we'll just do a couple more. One more, lift, 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 and hold it here. Now anchor in with your elbow, you're going to come forwards, and you're going to kick back. You're going to come forwards a little, and kick back a little. Forwards a little, and back a little. One more, and back a little. Now pause here. And I now want you to reach your arm all the way overhead. Now we're going to bend and reach. Bend a little and reach. Bend a little and reach. And bend a little and reach. Now keep that leg up, almost a little internal rotation of your outstretched thigh. And we're going to circle for 4 and 3 and 2 and 1, going the other way, 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Now hold, 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 hold. Allow that foot to come down, and then you can just drop the band, and we're going to come all the way over to the side. You can hold that top wrist and take a lovely stretch. And then slowly we come all the way back and all the way down. So set up for the other side. I'm just going to turn the band around. I'm just going to move a little further away from that chair. Remember, you're going for that little dot on the little circle on your band. And I'm going to outstretch my band a little bit, just so that it makes the flow from one exercise to the other a little bit easier. So we need our roller, and I'm going to put it onto this side, and I'm going to place my knee pretty much onto that little dot. Hands come down, outstretch my other leg. Now try and have your big toe no further forwards than your knee here. And then from here, really think about pushing that bottom, that tail away from you. Taking your other hand onto the roller, you're going to start to reach through. Now I'm really thinking about length in my spine. It feels really good, that rotation. Bring the roller in and open out to the side. And again, hand, back of the hand, and really think about the length in your spine. And all the way in and open out to the side. And again, we've got two more. Breathe out, 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 out. And in, 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 in. Then maybe an exhale, 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 exhale. And an inhale as you come back. So breathe out, 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 out. Last one, my palm is facing up. Pull the roller in as we inhale. Exhale all the way out to the side and all the way back down. Now we need to pop that roller out of the way. I'm just going to pick up my band. Now remember, when we put the band around the foot, it's going around at least your little toe. Okay, try not to have the band all stuck together if you can help it. And then from there, check the position of the big toe relative to your knee. They're pretty much in alignment. And we're going to tuck that elbow in. Now you do need to keep some tension on the band so that the band doesn't sort of just fall off your foot. And I've got my palm facing forwards. Now we laterally flex across to the side. Now remember, Jules, you can always have your elbow onto the chair. You'd obviously have had to move it across to the other side. Keep spilling water out of that underside air, and we're going to just lift and lower. Now remember, your support thigh bone is going to be really vertical. Keep pushing those little seat bones forwards like they were headlights going into full beam, lifting and lowering. We'll do 3 more and lower, and 2 more and lower. Shoulders soft. Last one and lower. Now lift it up and hold it here. We're going to bring it forwards and kick it back. Forwards, 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 and open that hip. Forwards, 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 and back, and forwards, and back. Now make it nice and in alignment with the rest of the body. And you're now going to bend both in and straighten out overhead. Bend both elbow and knee in and straighten out overhead. Bend both in and reach, 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 reach. Both come in and reach it out. Now hold that arm overhead and you're going to circle for 4, almost internally rotated. Mike, you'll be feeling this in your bottom, I'm thinking. And 2 more and 1 more and pause. Keep breathing, shoulders relax. And we go 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. And hold it there and let that elbow come down. Drop the band if you wish, and you're going to come up to come over. We'll hold on to the wrist and you're going to stretch it out. Feel that lovely stretch. You can either eyes up, eyes down, eyes straight ahead, and all the way back up and bring it down. So pop your band out of the way. We don't need your roller. We'll come into a little bit of bridge. So this is where I've also got my little bit of sticky stuff that just makes the edge of the chair a little more comfortable for me. You might want a tea towel or something like that over the edge of your chair if it's quite sharp. So we're going to bring it all the way down, and I want you to think how would we do a bridge on the reformer? This would be our foot bar, okay? So that's the resemblance here. So the arms would be down by our sides. If perhaps, Jules, you've been sitting at a desk all day and your shoulders are rounded, maybe it's going to be nicer for you to flip the palms out. Feel the flatness of your shoulder blades. And remember, Mike, be careful of your chin really pushing up like this. Try and get as much length through the back of your neck as possible. A neutral spine to start, so level sacrum, bottom ribs are in, and try and look at the vertical nature of your thigh bones, okay? Tiny little bit of flexion through both of your ankles. Take a wide full inhale, and as you exhale, you're just going to lift straight up, pushing your thigh bones forwards of your knees. Now melt the spine all the way back down, 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 down. And again, if you wanted to put one of the soft balls in between your knees, you can. And again, slowly, we're going to lift straight up, push those thigh bones forwards of your knees. Keep the collarbones open, your neck is so super long, and you're going to lay the bones all the way back down sequentially. So it's a straight lift up, lifting straight up, and then an articulation of the spine coming back down. And again, inhale at the bottom, as you exhale, lift straight up. Now I just want you to pause here. I'm going to think about this little visualization of the headlights. So imagine that your seat bones, these little bones here, imagine they are like car lights. Now right now they're in a dipped headlight position. Could you now spin them up so that you're flicking a switch that brings them right up into full beam? A big inhale at the top. And as you exhale, melt the spine straight down, straight down, straight down, straight down. Do you feel the same on both of your feet? One more of these. Inhale, and as you exhale, lift straight up. And lay the bones all the way back down, 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 down. Now you should feel this in your bottom, you should feel this in your hamstrings. This is obviously using both of our legs together symmetrically. But when we're walking, when we're running, when we're doing any sort of movement, really the human body is asymmetrical. It's always got one leg doing one thing and another doing another. So therefore, lifting straight up, we're now going to do a little bit of single side. So if you're not ready for this, you can just keep going as we were earlier. But if you can, a little bit of internal, invisible rotation on your right thigh bone, and we float the left up. And slowly from there you could reach that leg up to the ceiling, and you can lower it down and you can kick it up. Lower and kick, lower and kick, lower and kick, lower and kick. Now bring it back to bent knee, and you're simply going to lift those little headlights up and let them go down a little. Lift your headlights up and down a little. So you're pushing your right thigh bone in your mind forwards of your right knee. Keep the collarbones open. Can you let your head lift a little more out of your neck, out of your shoulders? And again, thigh bone reaching forwards of that right knee. We'll do two more. Think about those little headlights moving right into full beam. Those are your seat bones, remember. Lift and back. Now very slowly you're going to place that foot down. You might bring yourself down a little if you, as in your hips, if you also feel like the chair's moving away from you, make sure that you come into more of a stable position. Now with both feet down, think about your seat bones, and you're going to lift those little seat bones up into the full beam. As you think now about your left leg, almost invisibly internally rotated. You're going to reach that leg up, and you're going to slowly lower it. I don't mind how far, and you're going to kick it up. Lower and kick it up. Almost imagine that you're pulling the chair towards you with your left foot. And up and down. No pushing that chair away from you. And up, and pause there. Now we'll come back to bent knee. If you've had enough, just take a little break. And you're going to push that thigh bone forwards of the knee. Baby pulses, pushing up. Keep your ribs really soft, pushing up. Pushing up. Now, so you're thinking pubic bone lifts,
Thigh bone reaches forwards of that left knee, but also I'm thinking about my little seat bones moving from dip lights to full beam. They go from dip lights to the full beam. We're trying to work this single side glute. Open your collarbones, relax something. We'll just do 2 more. Lifting and lowering. We've done this a lot in the class. And pause. Place your foot down. You could take your arms all the way back behind you and just melt your spine all the way down, 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 down. And now take your arms out to T position. Imagine you had one of the green squishy balls in between your feet. Think supine spine twist here. Mike, if you'd like a block or a towel underneath your head, then please take it as we roll from side to side. Imagine that you had the pegs. You could even imagine that you're holding them by taking them into this position, or go into a capital E position with your arms, keeping those elbows really, really weighted to the side and to the side. Now, if you wanted to make this slightly more challenging, lift one leg, lift the other, glue the legs together. Now, really find your back ribs, the bottom ribs down, level sacrum, and we'll come across to one side, keeping feet and knees level, and all the way back through center. Across now, really feel that opposite shoulder blade staying as flat as you can. And we always used to think about length in our spine, remember? So you're really thinking from the crown of the head to the tip of the tail. Take your time. If you're finding that you're not able to stabilize in the upper body, reduce the range of your rotation from side to side. We'll just do 1 more, and across, and bringing it across, 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 and all the way back, and just quietly take your feet down. It might be that it's nice to hug in, it's maybe nice to do little thigh bone circles, just whatever works best for you. Let me pop that back up. So whatever feels good. If it feels nice to do thigh bone circles, maybe it feels nice for you just to rest your legs. Remember, we often talk about actually just being still is sometimes as nice cool down, or as nice a sort of active recovery as actually moving. So entirely up to you. Now we're going to do a little bit of abdominals here. So I'm just going to move back just a little bit, and I'm going to take my hands together, clasp them together, and put them behind my middle skull. Now from there we can just rest the feet onto the chair. So we've got lots of options here for progressions and modification if necessary. So I want your thigh bones to be directly above your hips, like so. And you're going to keep your shoulder blades just softly down your back, your collarbones open, and bring your elbows into peripheral vision. With a little tiny bit of length at the back of the neck, we're going to bring the head, the neck, the chest all the way up, up, up. And then slowly you're going to bring it all the way back down. So just get the feeling for this. 1 more. Inhale, and as you exhale, lifting up, 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 up. And very slowly bringing it all the way back down. Now slowly from there, feel what it's like to lift one leg up. Now without anything changing in your spine, pick your other leg up. Glue the feet as close together as you can manage. You might even want to put a ball in between your knees if that's difficult for you. And you're going to slowly start to lift your head, neck and chest up. Now don't let those thigh bones creep away from you. So as you come back down, keep the thigh bones exactly as they are to keep your abdominal wall engaged. And again, a little bit of length at the back of the neck. Pick your head, your neck, your chest up. Imagine your head was like a bowling ball, heavy in your clasped hands, and lay the bones back down. Now we can progress this. A little bit of length at the back of the neck, pick your head, neck and chest up. Now you're going to take both hands behind your knees. We're going to move the thigh bones a little away from you, and then we're going to widen the elbows and bring it up. Now imagine you were doing thighs in straps here. So imagine we were going to do our abdominals. We have the thigh around, the strap around the thigh, and we're holding it here. Now if you can, glue those legs together, reach your arms up to the ceiling, watch you don't clamp the chin to the chest, clasp the hands together behind the middle skull, and we take a lovely break without a big arch coming into our low back, so we're still very active in our abdominal wall. 3 more. Lifting your head, neck and chest. Bringing your hands behind your knees. Widen your elbows, push the thigh bones a little away from you and feel that deepening. It's as though I'm pushing the breastbone towards my hips. Relax the shoulder blades, the collarbones. Now glue those legs together. Reach all the way up. Clasp the hands together. If you don't want to linger quite as long as I am, please just make it all happen a little quicker if you're struggling. And again, 2 more. Lift your head, neck and chest. Hands behind knees. Push thighs away. Widen your elbows. Feel that deep, deep flexion. Heavy tail. And then reach those arms right up towards the ceiling. Clasp behind. And lay the bones all the way back down. And we'll just do 1 more. A little bit of length at the back of the neck. Pick your head, neck and chest up. Bringing it back. Push those thigh bones away from you. And widen those elbows so your head should be right on top of your spine. There's no tension in your neck. Pull those low abdominals away from your clothing. Glue the legs together if you can. Reach straight up to the ceiling. Hands behind middle skull and lay the bones all the way back down. Now slowly from there, if we can, we're going to just do a little bit of almost rolling like a ball style. So you're going to lift your head, neck and chest. We're going to start to get a little bit of momentum. And we're going to bring it all the way up. And we're going to try and just hover our shins, not our shins, our calves away from the chair. And then control as we bring it all the way back down. So imagine that you're going to do a spring change. You lift your head, neck and chest. We start to rock a little. Now the head isn't waggling around. We rock and we rock. And we try really hard. If you feel you're a little close, which I maybe am, then just move yourself back a little bit. And then control as you come all the way back down. I'm just going to take myself back a little bit because it'll make life a little less congested. So we'll do 2 more. We're doing 4s. Lift your head, neck and chest. And we'll just do a couple of little rocks. And a rock. However many it takes you, all the way up, 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 up. So we don't want any space, if we can, between your calf and the chair. Now lift your heart center. And we're going to control as we come all the way down. And we've just got 1 more. Open those collarbones, lift your head, neck and chest. And we're just going to do little baby rocks, like a rolling like a ball almost. And on the next one, we'll bring it all the way up, 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 up. And if you could, you'd keep your heart lifted and you would reach those legs out. Keep that heart up. If you can, take your arms and then slowly from there, lay the bones all the way back down. So quite challenging on the hips. Again, you can just do little thigh bone circles if it feels like a nice way to release. So having worked the front of the body, let's now work the back of the body. I really don't mind how you do a transition. Let's maybe come across to the side and I'm going to bring it all the way around like so. So coming all the way down onto your tummy, just make sure that you're comfortable initially. So you're going to reach your legs long and lengthened away from you. And we're just going to play about with extension of the hip for a moment. So I want you simply to take your left leg and reach it away from you. So just feel how you can lift it, you can lower it. You can lift it up and you can lower it back down. Lifting, trying to keep the same pressure on both of your hip bones as you do this. Now I want you to lift it up and hold it there. Now keep the length in it as you go into external rotation and back to parallel. So I'm externally rotating my thigh bone out to the side and back in. and out to the side and back in. Now see if you can go internally and back, and internally and back. We'll do 2 more and back, and 1 more and back. Now you could add the 2 together, so it goes to an external and an internal. So it's rather like a single side zigzag that we would do in footwork. Just really ensuring that we keep that ability to almost spiral in the hip, which is so important in movement. And pause, let it rest down. If you can, we'll hold the foot. Be careful of your knees here, Mike. Push length into your thigh bone and just elevate up if you feel that's appropriate to you. If you don't feel it's appropriate to you, then don't push it. Really stretching out the front of that hip, carefully lowering it down, and we'll switch to the other side. So all very important hip opening work before we go into our swan. So we're going to lengthen and lower. So we lengthen the other leg. Now remember, you might find that you've got one side that's easier than the other. So we lift and lengthen and lower. Now on this next one, lift and lengthen, hold. Move into external rotation, parallel. The thigh bone moving in the socket, pelvis is stable. External rotation, parallel. Move the thigh bone out and push it back into parallel. 1 more and back. Now move into internal rotation and back. Internal rotation, back. Internal rotation, back. We'll do 1 more and back. Now add the 2 together. So you move the thigh bone out, you move it in. You move it out, you move it in. So this is really an important movement, that we are able to keep these hip sockets in good form so that they can move every which way with control. Last one and pause. Let it rest down. Bend at the knee if you can. So again, Mike, please be careful of your knees. If you are doing this, you want to keep that knee, ankle and hip socket in good alignment. And then I'm going to reach the thigh bone towards the knee first. Then I'm going to imagine elevating the back of the leg in towards, or really the lower part of your leg, that is your thigh bone, in towards the back of the leg. Sorry, that was badly described. So imagine you are lifting your thigh bone into your hamstring. And then very slowly let it come down and bring it back down to the start position. So the hips should feel nice and open from there. Now take a wide full inhale into the back and the base of the lungs, and we're now going to bring ourselves into a little capital E position. The nails level with probably around about your hairline there or thereabouts. So I want you to begin by pushing the thigh bones away from you. You're going to lift the head, neck and chest up. Now we do this swan on the foot bar many, many times. We would think about length first through our entire spine. We would imagine that we had a little safety net under the ribs, pulling the ribs back. We would send the sacrum away, and you would imagine wrapping around the softball as you did last week. Remember, you wrapped your spine around the softball or around a roller. And then bend the elbows to let it come all the way back down, 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 and pause. And again, back of the head comes up. Think about keeping your elbows heavy, so this is not a push-up. My elbows are weighted. And then I'm thinking ribs in, I'm thinking sacrum long, and I'm shortening that middle upper back. Really feel that you are lengthening all the way up through the crown of the head, through the soft palate and the roof of the mouth. Bend your elbows. They're the first thing to come down, then it's the ribs, the breastbone, and finally the face. And again, the back of the head comes up. Start to push a little into the arms. Pause. Bottom ribs in, sacrum away, thigh bones long and lengthened. Really feel that you're shortening that middle upper back. Keep your collarbones open. Careful you don't overly push your chin forwards. Keep lovely length at the back of the neck. Bend at the elbows. If this is too much for you and you've had enough, then Jules, just take a little break. And again, lift. Bringing it halfway up. Keep the flow, bringing the bottom ribs in, send that sacrum away from you, and very slowly bringing it all the way back down, 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 and pause. So slowly from there, we could just take a little bit of a stretch, taking one arm out to the side, the other hand comes onto the floor. I'm going to rest onto my cheekbone. I'm going to take a little bend into my opposite foot or opposite knee. I'm going to push myself over, pulling that knee up and back. And this other hand just comes in a little, relax the elbow. Feel that lovely stretch through the front of your shoulder. So the shoulder that I'm lying on is my left shoulder. And then slowly we bring it all the way back. And we'll do exactly the same on the other side. So I'm going to rest onto my other cheek. I'm going to bring that hand in. My other arm, my right arm is outstretched. I'm going to bend my left knee, pushing over. Now really feel this lovely stretch. If you've been sitting at a desk all day, it's really nice to really open the front of that shoulder and just let this other elbow feel nice and relaxed. And then quietly we let it come all the way back. And slowly from there we'll stretch out the back by pushing up. Bring your knees underneath you and just take a little moment like so. So this might be nice for you, it might not be nice for you. Mike, if your knees get bothered by that, remember, come up, just curl your tail underneath you. You could even have your hands onto here and just stretching, doing whatever feels nice to you. But if you can, then I'd like you to be down into this position, taking your hands to one side, lift your seat bone up and over your opposite heel. Take that lovely stretch. Now you could keep your lower half exactly as it is, but I'm going to take a little creep of my arms across to the side. So the more I take my hands and arms across, the more I'm getting a stretch. Please be careful, Jules, of all the areas that you've had sort of trauma in the past. Make sure it's not too big a stretch for you. And then we bring it all the way back and around. Begin with the hands nice and close to your mat. Lift your seat bone up and over. So if my left, or my hands are to the left of my mat, my right seat bone comes up and over my right heel. And in that stretch you can start to just walk the hands, baby steps around and around, and keep that seat bone up and over the heel so you get a big stretch all down under the armpit, down through the lats. And then we'll bring it all the way back and back onto our hands and knees. Now, just thinking, Jules, about your wrists. I don't want to do too much on your wrists, but I do want to do a little bit more bottom. So let's bring it down onto your elbows. You're going to have your knees directly underneath your hip sockets. You might want to clasp the hands, you might prefer here or here. Reading an imaginary book, it's entirely up to you how you find yourself. Now, so from here, you're going to reach one leg out behind you. Be careful you haven't hiked your hip up. And then from there, all you're going to do is simply lift. And you're going to try and get as much space at the front of the hip as possible. You lift, 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 and you lower. So we lift it up and you lower it back down. We'll do 4 and back down. Keep an energy through the crown of the head. 3 and back down. 2 and back down. Last one and back down. Now we're going to lift it up and hold it there. I want you to bend at your knee. Imagine that you're flexing your ankle and you're going to push straight up. Tiny down. Straight up. You should feel your bottom down. Straight up, as though your foot had a book on it and you were trying to lift that book up to the ceiling. And we'll do 4 and down, and 3 and down. Relax your shoulders, 2 and down, and last one and down. Now slowly bring that knee all the way in, and we're just going to take it out to the side. So like a little fire hydrant, like a dog against the fire hydrant. You're going to take it out and bring it back in. Take it out, back in. Take it out, bring it back in. Take it out and bring it back in. Now from here you're going to take it out, you're going to stretch the leg out, you're going to bring it back in and back down. So we go out, reach, back and in. Out and reach and back and in. We'll do 4, reach, back and in. 3 and reach. Keep pushing that tail away. Out, reach, in and down. Back out, reach, in and down. Let's just go one more. Out, reach, in and back. Take a little moment. Relax your shoulders. Maybe you need to just rest your arms. Palms can be up again. Might be really careful of your knees. And we're going to do exactly the same on the other side. So bringing it down, pause, just to make sure that your elbows are directly underneath your shoulders, your knees are underneath your hips, and push that leg out nice and long and lengthened. And all you're going to do is lift and lower. Really simple. Lift, 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 and lower. Now be careful that you don't lift and then go oop and lift up. I want you to try and keep your knee pointing down, your hip bone pointing down. You lift, 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 lift. Hip extension and down. We lift, 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 and bring it down. So we'll do 2 more of these and bring it down. Last one, and let's hold it here. So can we bend at the knee, flex at the ankle. Imagine there was a book on top of that foot, the sole of the foot, and we're going straight up and down, straight up and down, and straight up. Now watch your back doesn't overly arch. Straight up and down, straight up and down. So we're working that bottom again. Are you breathing wide and full? Can you relax your shoulders? Neck is long, careful your chin isn't pushing forwards. We'll do 2 more and down. 1 more and down. Now slowly from there, bring that knee in and pause. And you're simply going to take it out to the side. So you might feel here that your support leg is working. So it might not be all about right now your left, if you're doing the same side as me. It might be about your right supporting you, which is fine. Keep thinking, seat bones reaching away from you. Out, 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 and back in. We'll do 2 more. Out, 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 and back in. Keep it out there, pause, reach that leg out, bring it back in, and squeeze it in. For 5, and kick out. In, and back. For 4, kick it out, in and back. Watch you're not rounding your back too much through the upper back, Mike. And up, and reach, and in, and down. We'll do 2, and reach, and in, and down. Last one, and reach, and in, and down. And slowly from there, just take a little moment and release that low back, upper back, and eyes. You could always take your hands behind and give yourself a nice little stretch. So starting from there, we're going to come onto our chair and do some seated rotation, which will make life a little bit easier using our chair. So bring it a little bit more into the screen. And we're going to sit just perched at the edge of our chair. So you might want to put one of those squishy big green balls in between your knees. It's entirely up to you. And I want you to take your arms out to the side. So just make sure you could spot each other, make sure that your back is as straight as you can manage. If it's easier, you can always have your palms facing up. That might encourage you out of that rounded shoulder position, Mike. So from here, imagine there's a broom handle attached to both of your forearms at the back here. And I want you to take a wide full inhale into the back and the base of the lungs, And you're going to slowly from there on an exhale, from the waist down, stay absolutely centered. And you're going to come out to the side, bringing it all the way back as you inhale, preferably. So it's an exhale, 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 and an inhale as you come back. And exhale, 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 exhale. Now we have a chair. Could you rotate around to touch the chair? And all the way back to center. So as I keep from the waist down absolutely stable, imagining that broom handle, for me it feels tighter going to my left. Maybe you have one side that is easier for you. Taking it around and back. So I am guessing for you, Mike, it's going to be easier for you to go to your left. So that's your anti-clockwise, because you're so used to going this way. So for you then to go, I'm guessing, to the right, that is your clockwise rotation, that might be more challenging. So maybe you do a few of these, moving to the side that is more challenging for you. But keep remembering that you have a broom handle attached to the back of those arms, ensuring that you're not using just your arms. This is to come from your middle back. Now also, can you make sure that one knee isn't pulling back like this and then pulling back like this? Imagine that your knees were touching that foot bar, because we do this sometimes on the reformers sitting on the box with our shins touching the foot bar. And again, rotate, 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 and bring it all the way back down. So now I want to just do a little bit of seated rotation. You might want to stretch that. Sorry, we've just done seated rotation. Seated extension. So I want you to bring yourself into this position here. So my thumbs are facing backwards. My fingertips are up towards the ceiling. Again, you can have that ball if you wish in between your knees. And I want you to take a wide full inhale. Think back to the swan that you did a moment ago. And as you exhale, let your fingertips lift up a tiny touch. The tail reaches down. So imagine that you're pushing your seat bones down. And I want you to shorten your middle upper back. Imagine the thumbs go back a little bit, the fingertips go up. You lift as though you're being lifted like somebody in the Poltergeist film when they're being lifted off their bed through their center of their chest. And then we bring it back, and you can take a little moment with your arms down. We're going to do 2 more of these. So we bring it up, pause, thumbs face straight back. And again, you're going to begin with the fingertips coming up a little. Keep your seat bones anchored. Start to imagine you're wrapping around that middle back, that middle upper back. You're thinking less low back, more middle upper back. Think you're wrapping around a roller, a softball. You're being lifted by your heart, by your breastbone. The thumbs think back, the fingertips think up, and all the way back, and bring it all the way down. I can really feel this in my middle upper back. If it's all going into your lower back, slow it down a little. Really think, I'm stabilizing my low back as best I can. And I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. So inhale. And as you exhale, lift up through the crown of the head. Fingertips in your mind have an energy pulling the fingertips up. The palms face the ears. The thumbs in your mind are being gently pulled back, shortening that middle upper back. Keep imagining your belly button pulling in, shortening, shortening, and then bringing it all the way back and down. And you might want to go the other way by going into flexion there. It might be that even coming down towards the floor and stacking low back, middle back, upper back, eyes. And again, any little stretch that feels good to you, because that's really quite an intense exercise. We'll do one last thing, which is going to be using our bands. And I hope this translates to you at home. So I might just begin by making this a little bit more centered. Imagine reformer here, okay? So I'm going to take the band, and I'm going to make it pretty even. That's quite important, like so. Then I'm going to take that midpoint around the back, and I'm going to wrap the band around so that it just wraps once around one side. A bit fiddly, but we'll see if it So what I've basically got here are two ends that are relatively similar. So let's imagine that we were going to work our arms on the reformer. And this would be sitting on your box with your legs dangling down. You'd be facing the mirrors and we'd be doing our arm work, okay? So think about your position again. Can you keep yourself perched on the edge of your chair? I really don't want you to be slumped back here. So you can spot each other's backs again. So be really careful you're not tempted to lean backwards or leaning forwards. You can make it as tight or make it as loose as you wish on both of your hands. So you just want to basically make it feel like it's even left to right. So we're going to begin just by bringing it back a little and let it come up. So I know you're losing a little bit of tension here, but it doesn't matter. Open the chest and we bring it up. Now, I'm not letting my fingertips get any higher than about my shoulders, there or thereabouts. I'm trying to almost imagine that I could lead with my little pinky fingers and resist to bring it back. And again, are you breathing? Watch that you're not leaning back at all. Resist that band. Lift, 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 and resist to bring it back. Lift, 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 lift. Resist to bring it back. Imagine that you were on the reformer. Keep those shoulder blades beautifully stable and opening the chest and then bringing it back. Opening the chest and bringing it back. And just one more and pause. Now this time we're going to lift it up. They're slightly pitched in front. I'm going to circle around with my arms very much in peripheral vision and lift it up. Spin the palms. Reach it around, 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 around. Lift it up. Palms face forwards and control it as it comes out. Lifting it up. You're controlling your spine. You're keeping your shoulder blades really stable. Lifting it up, around, and this time I'm going to pause down by my side and we're going to go the other way. So we come up, around, and all the way back down. Out to this side, around, and all the way back down. Keep a good grip on that band. Up and around, and all the way back down. So try and think. You never let your springs do the movement for you. So you never let the springs pull you back. So you're resisting your band in the same way that you would resist your springs. Around and pause. And on this next one, we're going to come around, around, around. And I want you to pause. You're going to take them out to the side so they're just a little in front of you and no more. And we're going to circle back. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now we're going to go 10 the other way. There's a tiny bend in my elbows. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now if you need a break, take a break. We're going to do hug a tree. And open, open, open. And hug a tree. And open, open, open. Watch those knees. Watch you're not leaning back. And open, open, open. And we'll do 6. And open. And 5. And open. 4. And open. And 3. And open your chest. 2. And open. And 1. And open. And slowly from there, bring those elbows all the way in. If you need a little break, you can take a little break. And we're going to tuck our elbows in by our sides. We reach out, we pull in. We reach out, we pull in. We reach it out, pull it in. Reach it out, pull it in. So really open your collarbones when you come back. Reach and back. And last one, and back. And then finally, and just be careful that you don't ping the band away here, reach, open the elbow out to the side, reach, open the elbow to the side, reach them, open so my palm is facing down and back. And we'll do 3 and out, 2 and out, and 1 and out. And then just slowly let it come all the way down. You might want to just reach over to the side and back,
reach over to the side and back. And again, there's a little stretch through your chest. Maybe taking your hands flat, lift your heart. And slowly from there, we're going to take a little stretch as we cool down. So just popping your seat back a little if you can. And we're going to round forwards, bone by bone by bone, round forwards. Walk your hands all the way back until you come into a little sort of upside down V position. Now I want you to release one heel, pushing the other heel down. And on your stretching side, you're going to lift the toes up. So you should feel that in the calf, the Achilles, and you're going to push your other heel down. And do exactly the same with the toes, lift them up, spike the seat bone. And now we're going to push both down and spike both seat bones up to the ceiling. And slowly from there, walk your hands back a little, walk your feet forwards a little, slowly restack all the way back up, back up, back up. And now face your chair again. We can take a nice little stretch using the chair. So I'm going to take one foot forwards, and I'm just going to hinge at my hip. You could take your hands down, keep pushing the big toe away from you, the little toe towards you. And I'm going to widen my elbows and push my breastbone forwards. So really feel that lovely hamstring stretch. So the lower you go, the more challenging this will be. Now you could come into then a hip flexor stretch. So you want to feel this now through the front of that hip. You might bring your arms up, it's entirely up to you. Be careful this knee isn't pushing out to the side, and we'll come back to our hamstring. So flex, widen your elbows, push your breastbone forwards. So always thinking, could I extend my back? Breathe, widen full. You might even hold those toes and pull them towards you to really intensify that stretch. And one last hip flexor stretch, bringing it forwards, always thinking a little bit of extension. Remember your seat bone headlights? Imagine you could pull them forwards a little bit. And then very slowly and carefully, I would straighten, lift it up, make sure your feet are even so we get the same stretch on both sides. And we're going to take the other foot on. And from there, hinge. Remember, one side might be tighter than the other. Be careful of your feet spinning, like so. Try and bring your little toe towards you, your big toe pushes away from you. Push the breastbone along your leg, widen those elbows. Be careful you're not overly pushing your chin forwards. And breathe. And then I'm going to take a little bend and feel that hip stretching. Hands could come up onto the chair. I don't know what sort of chair you have. Maybe it doesn't translate so well. But as long as you're feeling a stretch through that back hip, that is the main thing. And again, one more of these. Stretching it out. Push that big toe away from you, little toe towards you. Breastbone pushes along. Widen those elbows. Please breathe when you're stretching all the time. And then the foot comes down at the front. Take your hands, really feel you can shorten that middle upper back. You can push down through the back heel if you wish. And to be safe from there, all the way back to a little balance challenge. Bring your foot down. And the last thing, we're going to lift up. Reach, 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 reach those hands away from us. A little bit of lateral flexion, bringing it up to come over. And all the way back, up to come over. Make sure your feet are even. We can intensify that, bring it up and over, hold that wrist and stretch. Now rotate up towards the ceiling. And rotate the middle back a little towards the floor. Up towards the ceiling with your rib cage. A little towards the floor. And all the way back up and down. And again coming across. Hold the wrist. You don't need to intensify if you don't want to. Trying to keep your pelvis as still as possible as we open to the ceiling and back. And a little rotation towards the floor. Trying to keep my pelvis as still as possible. Rotate and rotate. All the way back and down. And then lift, push the palms away from you. Bring it all the way down, bringing lots of lovely, happy energy into your heart center. And just circle and circle, and then just lift your shoulders, let them drop. Lift your shoulders and let them drop. Fantastic. Thank you so much for doing these. I cannot wait until we're back in this room together. And I just hope that you're keeping safe and well, and see you very soon. Thank you both.